This is a presentation of Mindbender Entertainment Sports. No reproduction of this video may be produced without the written consent of Mindbender Entertainment. Hello everyone, I'm Emperor Cole for Mindbender Entertainment Sports, and today I'm here to give you a quick preview of the Super Wildcard Weekend game, the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to keep it quick. I'm going to let you know a quick breakdown of who I think is going to win the game and why. Everybody, let's get ready to take this journey together. Let's do it. Okay, so right off the top, everything with the Bengals offense begins and ends with their quarterback, Joe Burrow. In order for them to be successful today, of course, Burrow's going to have a pretty good game. And that means that he's going to have to be able to connect with his three top wide receivers, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Burrow has led the NFL in completion percentage this season, and he also led the NFL in yards per attempt. So that means he wasn't just dinking and dunking the ball for little short checkdowns here and there. He was actually airing that ball out and throwing it downfield, which is a great thing. And it's the reason why the Bengals offense has been so prolific this year. Now, this also means that Burrow is going to have enough time to stay on his feet and make sure he can deliver the ball down the field to his wide receivers. Burrow was sacked 51 times this season, and that is number one in the NFL. So his offensive line is going to have to make sure they can actually handle the four-man rush that the Raiders are going to throw at them, or if they decide to blitz. So for the Raiders, that means if they're able to get some pressure on him, maybe that's going to create some opportunities for them. Burrow is looking like he's going to be one of the top three quarterbacks for the next 10 seasons or so. So I'm expecting the Bengals offense to have a pretty good game. So now, even if they're able to double Jamar Chase and maybe put a safety and a cornerback on him to try to limit his opportunities, I believe the other two wide receivers, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, are going to have a pretty good day. Or even the tight end, CJ Uzomah, hopefully I said that the right way, he might have a pretty good game as well. But I don't see the Raiders being able to stop the Bengals offense. Why? Because the Raiders secondary doesn't have any true number one cornerbacks or safeties. They don't have anybody who matches up very well. Also, the Raiders secondary only had 6 interceptions all season, which was dead last in the NFL. So only 6 picks all year up against an offense that's been rolling. And I believe over the course of the last 4 games, Joe Burrow has averaged 345 yards for those games. He's thrown 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So the Raiders defense is going to have its work cut out for it. In order for the Las Vegas Raiders offense to give his team the best opportunity to win this game, they're going to have to make sure they do not put too much pressure on Derek Carr. And although this is Carr's 8th year in the league, I believe, they can't put everything on his shoulders where he has to try to do too much. They have to make sure they play a strong game of complementary football. What I mean by that is they're going to have to make sure they get the ball to their running back, Josh Jacobs. Jacobs, who's averaged 125 yards over his last 2 out of 3 games. So they're going to make sure they pound the rock some with him and make sure they're able to get the ball through the air in their passing game to some of their wide receivers. Although the Raiders don't have a true number one wide receiver, they have Hunter Winthrow, I believe, who is their number one guy, but he is more of a slot receiver type receiver. But he has had a very strong year for them. Also, he does a great job in their special teams and the punt returns. I believe he's averaging like 9 yards per return, which is actually number one in the NFL. The Raiders' offense is the second most penalized offense in the whole entire league. So they're going to have to make sure they don't beat themselves and get false start penalties, holding penalties, and things of that nature. Because, of course, this is the playoffs, and every mistake is magnified because you won't get a whole lot of opportunities to try to make up for what you did wrong. So now the Raiders' offense is also going to have to make sure they limit the turnovers. Derek Carr does throw interceptions somewhat, and he's a little inefficient at the QB position. I expect the Raiders offense to be able to put up some points and move the ball because it's not like the Bengals have a super dominant defense. They give up about 4 yards a carry against the runs, which means they're a little bit susceptible there. And the Bengals defense has struggled against the tight end position all season long. They've given up the most yards to the tight end, and I believe they've given up the most touchdown passes to the tight end position all season long. So that means that their linebackers and safeties struggle with that coverage. So if the Raiders are able to get the ball to Darren Waller, who's just returned back from, I believe, the IR. He played last week versus the Chargers but didn't do a whole lot. So in this second game back, it's the playoffs. He's a little bit more worked into the offense. I expect him to have a little bit of a bigger game. Those are the keys, I believe, to the Raiders offense being able to make this game very competitive, being able to put up some points, and make this a real contest in this here playoff game. These two teams have both had droughts. The Cincinnati Bengals have not won a playoff game in 30 years. The Las Vegas Raiders, the entire franchise, has not won a playoff game in 18 years. So, of course, that comes to an end today for one of these teams. And the team that's going to win is the Cincinnati Bengals. I picked the Bengals offense to be able to have a great day. They won't be stopped very often. I expect them to put up 45 points, and I'm expecting the Raiders to only be able to score 34. So that's the final. I predict 45-34, the Bengals advance and go on to play Tennessee next week.